more than 500,000 students who graduate annually are suitable for employment. And of these graduates, more than half are not suited for their career choice. This fact suggests that majority of those who graduate cannot land and will find it challenging to secure long-term employment in their field of study. It is the backbone of any country's economy, the ultimate key to success: education. As Kenya works on educating all her citizens, are we solving our problems or recreating new ones? In 1963, the new independence government took over the nation, promising radical reforms in the education sector. A lot of investment was therefore put in place in the construction of new schools and increasing the teachers' workforce. In 2003, President Mwai Kibaki introduced free primary education that led the country to witness one of the highest school enrollment rates in history. Fast forward, many universities have today been established, and the government has subsidized both secondary and university education. Today, Kenya's literacy level has gone up a notch higher, standing at a respectable 92%. An overwhelming 20% of Kenyans make it to universities and colleges each year, and the number of graduates has been steadily rising. The rise has come along with numerous of challenges as well. The major one, unemployment. A large percentage of young people are unemployed, and this has resulted to a huge majority of them migrating into urban centers such as Nairobi and Mombasa in search of a living. So how did we get here in the first place?
Of the 1.2 million people, Kenyans who come into the job market every year, 850,000 of them come and migrate into our city each and every year. This situation has overstretched services provided by the city. Housing numbers have been overstretched, leading to informal settlements. Health services have been overstretched, leading to high mortality rates. Employment opportunities have dwindled, leading to insecurity. Unemployment rate 30 years ago was only 14%, and right now is 46%.
We started to get jobs, but it's not the main thing that we target to.
In a bid to mitigate this crisis, many university students have embarked on various hustles in order to make out a living and earn a few more coins. One of these is academic writing. This involves one doing assignments, research projects, and at times thesis for other students in exchange for certain amount of cash. The amount paid is often not much, 300 shillings at times. But despite this, many students feel it is justified.
I think academic writing makes you grow basically. You might not be in a capacity to contribute much, especially as an ordinary student. You will not be trusted with academic contribution, especially when there are professors, doctors doing that job. But as an ordinary student, you can contribute in a very small way, and it prepares you not to contribute, to do that contribution in a far future. Yeah.
A recent survey by Geopol found that 9 out of 10 Kenyan youth are active gamblers, spending an average of $50 a month. There is a sense of entitlement for money given from parents and guardians, and secondly, getting means of reasonable income is challenging. So the youth see betting as an alternative source of income from money they get from parents.
You find that at times your parents send up and it can manage you throughout the week. So you settle on this issue of gambling. Yes. And the peer pressure also, you are being influenced by your friends that there is this issue of bets or this issue of games. So you end up losing a lot. Like I normally bet like more than 3 times like in weekend because there are many weekends there. And then in the course of the week like I bet like 4 times. Yes. It depends on how you bet. some people are not responsible, so you find you end up losing a lot. And therefore, for me, when I'm in good financial terms, I normally manage how I carry out these bets. Like, I may set aside something like 500, and I expect a return of something like 15% profit.
It gives the fallacy, because once you see the people being advertised in the TV, they won 10 million in a split in 1 hour. But if you take a deep analysis of the situation, you realize that most people, more than 90%, end up losing.
Many university students and graduates have opened up their own personal businesses. Though this seems an interesting viable option, it is full of plenty of challenges as well.
Very financial. And I would say, they all say that business is not for those people who are faint-hearted, and I support that. Challenges are so many. First of all, as myself, I was not a chemist or something like that. So I had to do a lot of research, read books, read from the internet, and gain knowledge on how to do manufacturing, the whole processing products, and so on. And also, the financial problem usually is a major one, whereby you have to really squeeze yourselves and avoid fun. You don't have fun when you start a business. So this again has been a big, huge problem when dealing with finances. And again, we have some pressure from the community, whereby the community expects after you graduate from campus, you're supposed to get employed. So when you go against this all, they see as if you just went to school to survive. However, I think going to school is very important because you gain knowledge, and getting employed, I would say, not an option for me, and maybe for so many other people out there, because we need people to be innovative and get into business too.
As the general elections draw near, many young people are gunning for elective seats. Are their intentions valid? And is this a solution to the unemployment challenge?
Corruption in Kenya is deeply rooted. And most of these people, the reason that may be driving them towards these positions at that tender age or younger age, it's just because they feel, for example, the position of MC, there is a lot of money in their disposal, they can get a lot of funds. It's just all about corrupt might. That's what I can say. It's all about corrupt might. Because even just at the position we are, or at the situation we are of the maybe student leadership, some of them are just there thinking that this position you can be able to rob more funds, this position, that. So that's, according to me, is the drive. Because you can't tell me that it is easy for a person immediately from campus to assist people in maybe a sub-county solve their problems. I think it's not possible because I have analyzed it and I know it can't work.
Solving an employment crisis involves concerted efforts by all institutions involved in the student affairs. For example, Kenyatta University, through the Chandaria Innovation Center, has opened up a platform for young entrepreneurs to set up their business ideas, incubate them, and gain mentorship from experienced businessmen and women. The student unions too have a role to play. Being custodians of student affairs, the student unions have a key role to play as well.
Well, partnership with Chandaria, basically they offer office-based printing services, telephone services, and maybe transport. In return, maybe they take some portion of your company, some percentage ownership of your company.
In the student union, I will admit it's unfortunate that not much has been done to empower entrepreneurs and to empower students with innovations. But I think moving forward, that's some of the issues that the Congress need to bring on board. Do what Chandaria is doing in a small capacity, in a small way. I think it will go a long way, because every day, as a student or as someone who is focused on growth, life is all about innovation.
right? We cannot fully take the part or the work that Changari is to do here with the students' union. We cannot fully take up and say we need to host innovations or host entrepreneurs. We can't, because even fixing it in our budget is a little tricky. But then, what we can do, we can partner with Changari. An example, we're having an event on innovation forum, and I'm from the School of Pure and Applied Science, and my fellow scientists and engineers are coming on board. So we're partnering with them to help better the students where we can. Because we believe what binds us together is greater than what sets us apart. And if all of us come together, we can't solve every problem, but we can get something meaningful done.
The whole university education system should be rethought. Students are no longer motivated by the quest for knowledge, but rather by a primitive urge to acquire pieces of paper to secure jobs. The only challenge is that there are not enough jobs to absorb all the graduates entering the job market. The education sector happens to be the leading employment market in the country, where even those who never trained in education are absorbed. This raises questions about the standard of education being offered by universities in Kenya, and also whether the staff being hired to teach in these institutions are really qualified. In a nutshell, it is important to lay emphasis on higher education, as it is the level where skills for manpower needed for various professions are being acquired.